welcome to Retro Cars Reborn. I'm Lee, and this is a rear quarter of a Peugeot 205. And as you can see from the patina, it was sat in a bush for the last 10 years. So let's see if we can make some rear quarter repair panels out of it. Let's go! So as you can see, this is one of the rear quarters that I purchased. There was two of them. They would cost me £100 each. And as you can see from this piece that's missing, basically it was the boot floor and the inner wheel arch I've already removed. And I took the bottom of the sill off so that I could see how the sills were put on in the first place. Now this is one of the reasons why I decided not to put this entire complete rear quarter on. So the GTI goes all the way to the edge. It's literally it only like peaks up at the end, whereas this is off a base model. Can't remember what particular model it's off, but as you can see, look, it doesn't come all the way to the end. So that's why I wanted to be able to place it halfway or inside of it, so I can actually cut this piece off, because that bit and the GTI is still fine, and we'll end up with just putting this bottom quarter on. It annoyed me because I got two dents in it and I was removing the inner piece. But also I get this bottom bit here, which is on this one absolutely minted, and I also, because this bit's rotten away, on this one it's still intact, and that's how much of it you get left with. That's where it should end, and as you can see, it's gone. Should cover that pretty much completely, that bit there. As you can see, it should have that little kick on the bottom, and on the GTI it's gone. So yes, righty ho then. The rear quarter. Oh, when I'm not knocking brushes all over me, what the hell? So there we go, rear quarter flipped over. I removed that naff bit of sill that was at the bottom. It didn't like it. It did not want to come off without damaging everything, but we can fix all this. It doesn't matter. So I'm thinking, if you can look from the inside, I'm definitely going to cut it across this top wedge, so I can actually push it in and you can use the lines to make it perfect. So at the minute I'm just undoing this inner strengthening plate for the B pillar. Let me move this brush again. Ooh, let me get a screwdriver. Screwdriver. There you go. Just see. I'm just in the process of unpinning it all the way up so I can get it out. You know, I might even sell that bit on because they seem to go rotten. But yes, I'm going to unpin it all the way up to here, cut it there, and I'll say across there, and we should have a perfect patch to overlay. And because all that's one and it's all perfect, I might just cut it straight across the top of here as well and just do away with all that, just unpin it and just do away with it. But we shall see. So I really did try to unpin it all, as you can see, but I just couldn't get that inner piece out. So it looks like I'm going to have to cut straight through it. It's a bit of a shame, but that's how it goes. So I'm going to cut along this line all the way down there, and hopefully I'll have a perfect piece to fit here. So let's see how it goes. I cut it out and it fits pretty well. You can see how much bigger a normal Peugeot 205 is compared to a GTI from this panel, because that's why the GTIs stops flush with that, because that's how much bigger the GTI's wheel arches are to fit the body kit. Mad. Absolute mad. So the question now is, do I leave it flush up to here and have all this part as a repair as well and cut the back off, or slide it forward so I still have this nice seam all the way around it and cut the front off? Decisions, decisions, decisions. Yeah, it already looks absolutely mint with the sill in place, the lower quarter in place. It's all starting to look like a minted car again. It just looks so good. I've just chucked in two of these bad boys. I was thinking about putting a third one in the middle, but it's got it pretty well on there. But yeah, I was looking more at this arch now and how it comes out here, but it still perfectly meets the sill. So from a little bit of research that I've done, is the sills for a 3-door are the same. People seem to think that the GTI sill is different to a regular 3-door sill. It's not. It's the same, which is why it meets perfectly at the bottom. They just flared the arch out at the top. They meet perfectly in the bottom. If I take the panel that I cut out and place it on the inside of this one and line it up across the bottom there, it meets up to about there before it decides to flare outwards. I think that's what I'll do, is I'll lie the panel I cut out on the inside of this one, use a marker to line up to where it meets, and then cut this one to match, and then I can weld in this little tiny bit back on the back before it's actually put on the car. So now that it's all in place and I know it all fits and it all lines up and it's all pretty perfect, I will take it all off. I'm going to red oxide primer the inside of the sill. Obviously I don't need to do this bit here because that bit's going to be welded. But yeah, and again with the panel at the bottom, but I can red oxide pretty much every other bit up until there. Right, there's a little dint there, but I don't think there is. Yeah, so I red oxide prime it, and the only other bit I need to salvage is the front of the sill off the old one, or cut it out and use it to make a template, and I can use the template to then cut it out of the GTI's older door, so we've got the perfect gauge of steel. So yes, I'll whip this all off and I'll have a look at a bare naked car. So we've got one naked car again. No rear quarter, no sill. As you can see, I've just taken the time to go over it in red oxide primer as an extra bit of protection. I've even started to paint the sill with red oxide primer. Obviously not the bits that are going to be spot welded. I've also just cut out that little bit of rot which is there. It wasn't too good on the piece behind either, so I've cut that out, so I've got 2 layers back in there. But I am noticing that the sill, the inner sill itself, is made up of different layers. As you can see, this piece here, look, goes down to there and then drops to there, so it makes this outer, well, the outer of the inner sill, and then it's not joined there at all. Look, and then there's another piece that runs all the way to the front, and then it becomes a different bit at the front. Again, look, a different piece at the back overlaid, and another piece at the back overlaid. I'm thinking I'm just going to cut this out completely, this inner shield. As you can see, it goes up here and on to here. I'm thinking that I'll cut it across here and then up and up to here, because again, as soon as it goes up into this piece, it's perfectly solid, but because it's all rotted down here, I'm thinking I'll take that piece out of the rear quarter, because it's still okay. Painted the inside of the rear quarter as well, extra protection before it all goes together. So yeah, so just got to repair this piece here and the hole in the floor. But I have, if we get touch, I have started to clean it up to get ready to cut it out and stick a new bit in. It's quite a lot as well of the inner piece that needs cutting out as well to make a decent enough repair section. We've got plenty of steel, so yeah, so there's just 2 repairs to do, and then we can actually look at putting the sill on. Again, just got to clean up these little bits. That spot weld behind there needs cleaning off, and that's the only bit. That's the only bit of this B post which has actually got to be spot welded down. So I chuck a repair in there, chuck a repair in that hole, and I'll show you the results, and then we should be ready to chuck a sill on. Look at all that mess, it's ridiculous, grinding and whatnot. You can just see the dirt that comes out of everything. Now, I've repaired that bit, chucked some seam sealer on where the welds are. I've done the inner as well, chucked some seam sealer on it. You can see the gap now that's between the 2 panels that they fill with seam sealer. So yeah, so now we're just contemplating whether I'm going to replace this bit of sill, bit of inner arch, because the one I've got on the other rear quarter up there is so much better. So I cut the tub out of the other rear quarter, but again this tub is out of a standard 205, so of course the bit that I cut out doesn't fit. I've got to fit as best as I can, because that's the only bit there that's rotten. Again, that bit's different because it doesn't have it on a standard 205, and it's also got more material. You see all the rotten bit there, and that's the bit I wanted to replace, you see. So I've managed to get this to mimic this. I mean, it isn't perfect. I'm gonna start the new material here. I'm gonna join it on all the way up to where I've got this little bit of mould rip sticking out the top, so that when I weld it in, it is the same thickness here, so it reaches the actual rear quarter section. So yeah, wish me luck welding onto that, and we shall see what happens. I've cut it out now. There's the old one. Yeah. You can see the rust in it. Runs all the way to the top. And it penetrated both sides. And I don't even know where I've put the replacement piece. Oh, it's there, look. There we go. That's my replacement. I had to weld a edge on it. Weld the extra edge on, which is not, you know, I've not cut it, I've not trimmed it yet, which is why it's in 3 sections. That section there is going to need trimming, that section is going to need trimming, that there is going to need welding closed, but this bit's not rotten at all. It's all fresh metal, and it's going to be a nice perfect piece to fit in there. So I'm going to get this new bit welded in, and then I can sort put the sill on. So I've got the panel in place now, just getting ready to weld it in. So wish me luck, because you know, you always end up with these fucking little holes that you cannot plug for the life of me. I mean, they're not all the way through, as you can see, but you can grind them completely to a point where you can't see them, but you know, once the quarter's on, you're never going to see them, and it needs trimming still, so most of that will come off when it's trimmed. So yeah, it's looking good. I mean, it's pretty much perfect. There's a slight gap there, look, but you know, we can sort that. So let's get it welded in. Well, she's welded in. Grind it back as much as I can be bothered, because you know, this is all seam sealer when it's put together. But if it needs some extra welding, which I doubt it will do because it is solid, we can do that from inside the arch, which you can see the penetration and the welds anyway that have come through. So it is on there pretty well. We'll tidy this side up once it's got this rear quarter on, the sill, and the other side's done, so I can actually remove the back wheels and get in there to clean it up. But yeah, we're in. So now I'm gonna slap some more red oxide primer in there for now to keep it good. So yeah, there we go, some red oxide primer all back on it. Makes it look like a totally different panel. Chuck the sill on. As you can see, the sill fits still perfectly as it should do. So let's have a look at it all together. I've got to be honest, this repair panel turned out a lot better than I expected it to do. I didn't think I could make one this good. The way that the repair panel turned out, the way that this rear tub ended up being pretty much a perfect fix. So now with that done, obviously it still needs trimming, but it is pretty much made. We just need to fit the sill on, and then we can come back and we can actually fit this properly. So yeah, repair panel made. Thanks for watching, remember to subscribe, and I shall see you in the next video.